Today on Drawbli, Abby is drawing.
This guy with sunglasses.
Click that subscribe button if you're new around here.
And comment below with ideas of what we can do to improve.
And if you just so happen to be drawing this guy as well, maybe share it online with hashtag Drawbli.
I want to see it.
Tell me about this guy.
Okay, so here's the story. I didn't know what to draw that day, as is many days. So I just scrolled back in my iPad through my saved photos. I was somewhere without internet access, so I didn't really have an opportunity to browse the internet freshly.
And you just had this laying in there,
Well, I used to save things more often that I wanted to paint back when I didn't have even the closest realm of ability to try to paint them with any good effectiveness. So I decided to just take a short study on this guy, short by my standards anymore, which is like 2 hours, I think, under 2 hours.
Oh, really? You would consider that short?
For me, there's a lot of my footage for videos ends up being about 4 hours of footage anymore.
Oh, wow. I very rarely go over 2 hours. I need to put in more work.
No, you put in, well, you're more effective. You're more like efficient with your time.
Yes.
You see me like work on the same thing over and over, redraw the same thing over and over. Like, I am not efficient. That's why my things take way more time, because I still don't have a very effective workflow. But, it's always changing, always growing. I scrolled all the way back and found this guy with sunglasses that I had saved at one point. Maybe we were considering doing a prompt of sunglasses or something, because he was saved right next to another picture of a guy with sunglasses.
Okay.
So I was like,
I vaguely remember that from quite a while ago.
Yeah. So I took a stab at him, and it was fun. It was honestly kind of relaxing to just work on something knowing full well that I just intended for it to be a fun study. I wasn't going to try to render everything out with perfection. It was...
Yeah, I think that's like the attitude that you should go in with everything. It's not make or break.
Yeah, well, I should say it's just a little different from like the homework for the course we've been doing, because that I really do want to kind of try to take it as far as I can, because that's with a purpose, right? Of getting like better and studying and trying to learn. And there, I believe there is a lot of value in.
But here, this was more just like drawing for fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like
how
that.
It turns out. Yeah. I had a good time. And his sunglasses were really fun to work on, too.
Yes. I don't know if... I think people drawing or painting portraits often try to avoid sunglasses. I'm not sure why.
That's why I'm trying to get in on this market now and become the sunglasses market. Queen.
Yeah,
also, it takes away from like the power of the eyes, the windows to the soul. Everybody wants to draw eyes.
The power of the eyes.
The power of the eyes.
I've seen many times in threads where it's like, hey, post a photo of yourself for people to draw, but it's like, don't wear sunglasses.
It is kind of obnoxious to draw something mechanical on such an organic thing as a face, because as much as we can tell when something is off on a face, I think we can even more tell when something is off on something as perfect and exact as manufactured plastic sunglasses.
This is true. That might be one of the main reasons for sure. I noticed here with the pencil that you were using that it had like a really long, I forget what it's called in Procreate, but it's like the lazy brush trail. What is that called?
Flow? Yeah.
So do you keep that on your pencil?
Yeah, I created a new pencil brush with a ton of flow.
Ooh, a new one.
Yeah, I've been using it a lot lately for my initial sketches. I just really like it. I feel like it helps me be cleaner right off the bat.
I like that.
And since I use it so often, I feel like, the flow, the lazy mouse aspect is not a detriment to me. If I was trying to draw something kind of really sketchy and scrawly on purpose, I would definitely use a different brush, like maybe an inking brush. But for my purposes, this extra flow pencil is currently the brush of choice.
I've recently kind of switched up my brushes quite a bit.
Oh, yeah?
In terms of what I've been using. What have you been using lately? It looks like you're using the flat brush here.
Yeah, no, I've really narrowed down a lot lately. I am flat brush and my flow pencil, and I don't really use the airbrush very often. I blend mostly with the flat brush.
You don't use... Abby.
I know.
You are the airbrush queen.
That was back in the day. But no, I still use the airbrush occasionally. But no, yeah, I blend. I erase with the flat brush.
Oh, I think your blending brush got switched, by the way, away from the good one. I'm not sure if you're intentionally using the flat brush for blending. Oh, you are?
Uh-huh.
Oh, interesting.
No, like I said, I use the flat brush pretty much, especially for a fun sketch like this, where, you know, I want it to be blended, but it doesn't have to be perfect. Well, yeah, flat brush. Let's do it. Let's go.
All right, Abby, what are your tips for keeping your skin from looking dead? Because I've noticed that you're not sampling colors, right?
Right. Well, I do
What have
try...
you learned here?
To add a lot of more red than you think is really
Like
necessary.
a lot more like saturation of reds?
Well, later on in this portrait, I actually go in and do, I think, your style of doing the selection tool and filling in large patches of red and then dropping the opacity on a new layer.
Yeah.
And that was pretty effective, or just enhancing the red in general. Actually, that comes in a lot towards the end of this piece. I start going in with a lot more reds.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
Because right now he's still looking pretty muddy.
Yeah, so I
like
actually learned that I was experimenting with colors recently, and the technique of fading out opacity like I do has a really big downfall that is like really bad.
Oh no, really?
Yeah, so I learned that while experimenting, that if you have like, let's say a blue and a red, right? And you start blue and you put a red on top of that, and then you fade out the opacity. Well, what do you get? You get gray.
Oh. So just don't overlap them.
So if you have these opposite colors on the color wheel and you try to blend them together with opacity, it's going to decrease the saturation of those a ton. Instead of just taking the red and the blue next to each other and like blending them together. It's quite a bit different in terms of how it works. So when I throw in the colors, just like you're doing right now with these reds and such, I use super saturated, like as saturated as possible colors. And I've always done this, and I didn't know why it worked and looked good, but I do understand now, and it's because as you blend all those weird, like opposing colors together, they like get closer to gray. So start with like the most saturated red and opacity slider that out, and you'll keep some of that warmth in there. Bada bing, bada boom.
But you don't want to like let it cross over with the blue.
Well, you can do that, and because you started with like the most saturated red, you'll most likely not move as close towards gray as possible.
Oh, I see. So there is a lot of value in doing the drop the opacity
I still do it.
method,
Yeah, I mean,
as long as you start with really saturated red.
Yeah, my upcoming portrait that I've worked on recently, I've been playing around with that technique a lot, but because I was working in black and white initially, which you'll see soon, I really was able to like use that technique even better because I didn't have to worry about color as much. Working in black and white is fun. It
feels
is
so fun.
It feels like it just feels easier. It feels nicer in some ways, but adding on color later is hard, in my opinion.
Yeah, it
Definitely
is.
something I would want to practice a lot more.
Definitely. The gradient tool is pretty useful. We'll have to try that out here soon.
yeah, for sure. I'm liking all of the highlights and the selection tool, going back to one of our favorite tools that we discovered. When we discovered like painting with the selection tool, that it just completely changed our workflows.
I very intentionally didn't want to blend out a lot of my work with the selection tool because I wanted it to have that kind of blocky look. You know, let it look a little stylized, as it were.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah. And then the tattoo on his shoulder, I just kind of grabbed some random brushes and was like, there's some stuff on your shoulder. There you go, bud.
It looks good.
A little texture, a la Ben style, some chromatic aberration, just a little bit, like 2%. I heard that's good. I can't tell any difference.
Just like 2%. I heard that's good. No, he looks awesome. This is so cool and colorful and fun. This looks like this could be like a commission for somebody's profile pic.
Oh.
For like, Instagram or whatever.
You're
This
not
is so
charging a
cool.
lot yet, but yeah.
Yeah, and if you want to get a profile pic made, you have to first click that subscribe button.
And comment below with ideas of what we can do to improve, and share your commissions online using the hashtag Drawbli. And this is the part where we say goodbye.
Goomba.
Would you like to commission some art for me?
I would. Will you paint an alligator that's eating a shark that's eating a turtle?
Okay, but I work exclusively in political messages, so there's going to be a strong political message in that.
I wouldn't expect anything else.
Good.